In this demo, I'm going to show how to use assessments to combine different devices from the internet and things like AutoTutor and Dragoon and the BBNN materials to create sort of tutorial lessons for our learners. So here we go. I'm going to start by just logging into my Assessments Electronics account in Assessments. And then so that you can do this as well with your accounts, we're going to start by taking our demo problem set, which is PSAVY for you, and clicking New Copy. So you can do exactly this in your account as well. And once we've made a copy, then you can edit it and look at it and poke around in it and do whatever you want to explore this type of problem set. So this is a wire resistance adaptive lesson. Whether the lesson is good or bad is irrelevant to this demo. So what we see here is the problem set editor in Assessments. The first setting is that this is a complete all linear order. And so that means we have 3 sections that need to be completed by all users of this problem set. First, there's an intro, then there's the auto assign if then else that we designed, and finally we have a little skill builder at the end so that everybody has to master this skill. And as I walk through the different parts, I'm going to also test drive this so you can sort of see from the student's view, and then we'll come back to this screen to see what's going on inside this adaptive problem set. It starts with an intro. So if I click on edit for the intro, this intro section is a linear order, which means everybody has to do these 3 problems. So I'm going to test drive and open this up large. And before I get started, hopefully things will work. So this one says we've got some text. Whoever wrote this problem set wrote this text, little intro, and we put a YouTube video in. So you can play the YouTube video, we can listen to Khan talk, we can pause him, and then it says, okay, I'm ready to begin. So whoever wrote this sort of continue on script to the user. Then I'm going to go to the next problem. The next problem is a PhET object. It says we wrote some text above it. Please play with this HTML5 simulation from PhET about resistors. So this is a little simulation. It says use the tool above to find the resistance of the wire if the resistivity is 0.5 and the length is 20 centimeters and the cross section is 15. So that means that you leave this at 0.5, you move this to 20, you set A to 15, and all we're doing is trying to get our users to, and it's 0.67 is the resistance. We're trying to get our users to play around with this PhET object. Once again, the content here is irrelevant. It's just the idea that you can do this. I'm going to go to the next problem. This one, instead, I'm going to get it wrong, pretend like I don't know how to do this. I'm going to show the answer. It's 0.97. So this would be a student who doesn't have a clue what to do. We did not write any tutoring on what to do with this object. We could have. So that's very easy to fill in with these boxes in. That's an assessments feature. The third problem is a question that asks them to use the formula, gives them the length L, the area, and the resistance, which is rho. And asks to use this formula. And the student works it out, and these ones were set in test mode. And let's go back and see where we are. So here's our problem set. Remember, we did those 3 problems. They were in that linear order intro. The problem that we just did is part of the next section. So I'll go back out to the whole thing, and you see the first section, then the next section is an if then else. I'm going to edit it. It says if then else. If then else has 3 parts to it. And the if is the original thing, and students, in this sense, it was set at 60%. So you have to get 60% correct, which when you look into this test section, you'll see that there are just 2 problems. And so the student, the learner, has to get these 2 problems correct, both of them. And notice that they're set in test mode. And this is a resistivity problem and another resistance problem. And let's go back to our test drive. And that was this problem. This is the resistivity problem. And notice it was set in test mode, so I, as a user, didn't get any feedback. And then this one, same thing. Notice I just got the two wrong. So since I got the two wrong, let's go back here. We go back up here. It's 60% correct. So now I got both wrong, so I failed. So it's an if then. So if I pass, so if I got both of them right, I would go here and I would get this message. But since I got failed, I get the remediation. So let's take a look at what's inside the remediation. Inside the remediation section is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 problems. So let's go see what that looks like for the user who got the two wrong. So I failed. So the first problem is the intro. Now, because I had to set it as okay, and I have to walk through these again. This is just because currently the auto tutor is not secure. Once that gets secure, this won't happen. But for my demo, unfortunately, it had to restart because of the security question. So off we go. I'll do these again. I'm going to get these two wrong. And these, remember, they were set in test mode. Now I'm back here. Auto tutor works because I set the thing. So I'm at the auto tutor dialog, and I will try to do my best. Reverse. All right. Now the xenodiode protects the bulb when a larger current flows. How does it get smaller? Something like that. We'll take the extra current from the bulb. So that's the xenodiode. So I'm going to, this is, remember, for the student who failed our test in our if-then. So the student who failed gets the auto tutor first. So that's what just happened. I got my score. We'll talk again later, says the tutor. I got my score and I'm done. So I click on done and then I click on next problem. And we set this up once again. If I look back here, this is the problem that has the auto tutor. And then we have these resistivity and resistance questions. I wrote down the answers to these, so I'm going to get them right. The students, I mean, we have a pedagogical idea here. The pedagogical idea is that if the students fail our little test, then we're going to give them we're going to give them the auto tutor as a way to get some more learning done. And then we're going to give them this practice. If I do get these wrong, by the way, I can try again and try again. There's also 2 hints for each one of these. And they talk about how to use the formula, how to put the numbers in. And then the second hint tells me the answer. So this is sort of a learning phase. We get the auto tutor and then we get this practice. I can look at the hints. I can get the answer. And hopefully I'm working it through because we have a make sure you actually learned it section coming up next. So there I am. I did my practice. Then it says, do you feel ready to rock and roll on your own? You will now have to get 4 problems right in a row on your own. That's a skill builder section. If you've been taking notes, you may want to use them as you go. Okay, so are you ready? Ready. Remember, this is just an assessments problem. The author wrote all these words, and they can be changed at will by the electronics tutor. So let's go look and see what happened. So do you feel ready was the last thing in this section. So I'm going to go back to the high-level problem set navigator. And here are the 3 things. We had to get these. So my my recorder is going to stop because I'm at 10 minutes. So I'm going to stop for the moment and come back with a second recording in just a moment.